a frosty reception. Tataru is desperately trying to retain her composure as she prepares to see you off on another perilous journey. I'm told the airship pilot has been sent to meet you. Ah, there he is. Alright, this is where we go our separate ways. Do be careful, won't you? Oh, instance. Oh, damn. It's an honor to finally meet you. We of the Garlemald Ironworks will be ferrying you and your contingent across the mountains and into Garlemald. For many of us, it will be something of a homecoming. Our illustrious founder was only our most notable imperial defector. For that reason, the company is committed to the success of this expedition. Our resources are at your disposal, and if there is aught we might do to be of further assistance, please do not hesitate to ask. If you are ready to depart, I will ready the engines. Upon boarding the airship, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. Oh yes. Okay, here we go.
Ilsabad, divided in twain by a vast mountain range. Those who would traverse its jagged peaks face peril at every step. But why go by foot when one can simply fly? On the outskirts of the imperial capital, in the frozen wastes of the Magna Glacies, the winds howl in icy protest, as if to warn against further trespass.
We've received word from Thancred's reconnaissance party. They've sighted a detachment of heavily armed Imperials.
Survivors of the Civil War, perhaps?
Perhaps, but there is more to it than that. Maxima reports that they are led by Vigilia, legatus of the 3rd Legion, which comprises the bulk of their number.
That's a new name.
However, they are also joined by several members of the 1st.
That's a cool armor. I want it.
From what I recall, the 3rd Legion fought for Nerva in the War of Succession following Varus' death. The 1st, on the other hand, were under the direct command of the Emperor and rejected Nerva's claim to the throne. These legions were enemies.
Indeed. In fact, our sources claim that it was a conflict between them that sparked the Civil War. Yet now, these former foes cooperate to defend a ruined Garlemald from invasion.
Then it is all but certain they have been tempered.
So, what's the plan? If me and my crew is out reaving, we charge straight in, no messing about. But that ain't what we're here for.
Quite right. Soldiers or no, they are people of Garlemald, the very ones we have come to aid. Direct confrontation is unavoidable. Nevertheless, we must make every effort to limit casualties on both sides. Rather than kill them, I would remove them from the field.
How so? Savage beatings, disarmament, and imprisonment? Not impossible, but easier said than done in the heat of battle.
Having observed the opposition, I imagine Thancred had something to suggest?
He did. He and the other scouts have already infiltrated a supply depot some distance beyond the Imperial detachment's current position. Stored within is a stockpile of Magitech armaments, and once we give the signal, Thancred's team will destroy them all. In so doing, we will deprive frontline troops of materiel, and likely force the detachment to send men to investigate.
Divide and conquer. Not a bad idea.
Once the scouts have finished their preparations, we will split into two groups. The first will form the vanguard, while the other brings up the rear with our supplies. As for the Scions, I ask that you lend your assistance where you deem it needed most. I would prefer, however, that you accompany the rearguard and be prepared to join the van at a moment's notice. Kept in reserve as our trump card, so to speak.
Your proposal was well received. More specifically, they asked that we destroy the Imperial's toys in as spectacular a fashion as possible.
Pistola always did have a flair for the dramatic. She's not an easy woman to please, but I shall do my best to satisfy her thirst for fireworks. All right, once more for my peace of mind. Our first objective will be to rig the enemy's magitech with explosives. After we've withdrawn to a safe distance, we'll detonate them remotely. Our second will be to issue a deactivation command to the automated units via the control terminal. If our calculations are correct, this signal should reach those deployed on the front line, giving our friends a much-needed upper hand. The blizzard will help us stay hidden, so let's aim to get in and out before it passes. Trust in the plan, and we should all live to see tomorrow.
In the meantime, I will relay messages back and forth as the situation unfolds. You'll forgive me if I ask again, but are you certain you wish to play the lone wolf?
Wouldn't have it any other way. Call it foolish and reckless if you like, but I'll get the job done. I always do.
Very well. I wish you the best of luck. Keep your wits about you.
It's done. We only have one shot at this. Let's make it count. This is Thancred. The explosives are in place.
Very good. All is proceeding as planned. Head to the control terminal. It should be to the northwest.
Understood. Have the others wait at the rendezvous point.
avoid losing my touch.
It was fun.
You are returned, and none the worse for wear, to my considerable relief.
What news from our comrades?
They stand at the ready.
Excellent. Then let the fireworks begin.
A few moments later, at the rear of Ilsabard contingent supply caravan.
The blizzard's beginning to clear. The Vanguard should be engaging the Imperials any moment now, if they haven't already. Ishtola and the others are with them, so I'm sure they'll be all right, but...
Dogs?
Wait! Something's coming!
Dogos.
Oi, oi! Looks like we ain't the only ones who sent out scouts. Keep them away from the carriages! We lose those, and we're as good as dead!
Fighters! Protect the others! A brief respite, but stay alert.
What impeccable timing! Fear not, friends! The savior of England is here!
A fine display, but the other carriages are still in danger. Go on ahead. We'll hold the line.
We're the only ones still struggling. Time we put our backs into it then. You lot all right back there?
We're fine, and ready for more.
Hear that? Get to the front and turn the tide.
Meanwhile, on the front line. Clever use of sleep.
Remove from the field was not a euphemism for enthusiastically murder.
It's nothing that won't heal in time. The trouble is, their tempering has made them utterly fearless. Subduing them would be easier if they had the capacity to submit in the first place.
Well, this is the path our young charges would have us walk, and that we all agreed to follow. You knew it would be hard, yet still you pledged your lance, did you not?
That I did.
Oh. That's a big sword.
That's for Gilia. Damn it. I need to help the others take her down.
There's no end to them!
I was wondering when you'd turn up. There's no stopping us now. Come on, let's show them what we're made of.
We have them now! Forward!
Right! Let them have it!
That's her!
Oh, here she comes.
Do not fall behind!
Oh dear.
Tremble before the sun!
May your breeze fill the
air!
Rest, recover, reclaim yourself. Then we will fight again, to the death.
Sadu had too.
That was the last of them. The day is ours, thanks to your timely arrival. What of the supply caravan? Outmaneuvered, but not outmatched. Good. Let us take the Imperials into custody and rejoin our comrades. And soon we shall arrive at the capital.
So cold and unforgiving. Thus spoke Emperor Solus as he gazed upon his barren domain. "800 years it had been since the Garleans first set foot here. Bested by the Kavosi after centuries of war and driven from fertile southern pastures into the blasted northern wastes. In that garden of desolation, They clung to one another for warmth, freezing, hungry, desperate, hated. The chosen forsaken. In the year 1513 of the 6th Astral Era, a young legatus named Solus single-handedly sparked the Magitech Revolution. How did he conceive the machina that feed on ceruleum? Once a common, soft-spoken soldier, how had he so quickly ascended through the ranks? Like so many others, those who knew the truth are gone. Taking in the capital with his eyes for the first time, I recall thinking to myself, far colder on the earth than in the heavens. Yes, far colder indeed, bitterly so.
Garlemald.
Not so much as a whisper.
The roads leading beyond the city walls would have been used less in recent years. Nevertheless, this was one of the most important gateways into the capital.
A buzz day and night with activity, aye. Merchants passing through the checkpoint, many of them stopping at the local hostelries.
Surely they cannot all have been tempered.
We can consider the question after we have made camp. If we spend any longer outside, we may well freeze to death where we stand. The tempered Imperials, too.
This will be our temporary base of operations. Secure shelter for ourselves and the injured, and dispatch scouts to survey the surrounding area.
If we're planning on staying here a while, we ought to give this place a proper name.
Well, the constant sound of ice cracking underfoot makes me think of broken glass. An apt name, perhaps. But enough of this. To work, everyone!
Shouldn't be long before we have a half-decent camp with so many helping hands. I was concerned the snow might hinder our progress, but our Asgardian friends are used to working in conditions like these. In spite of the obstacles we have faced, our plan proceeds apace. Just a little further and we'll reach the capital itself. Still, we mustn't get ahead of ourselves. As soon as the camp has been made fit for purpose, we are to discuss a course of action with Lucia. Would you mind asking Y'shtola and Grahan to join us in that building to the northeast of the camp? Alice and I will meet you there. A meeting? Yes, I'll make my way once over my head has cleared. In truth, I've been feeling out of sorts since we arrived. The air is thick with a palpable aura of malevolence. This the monstrous tower on the horizon. Jagged, hideous, unholy. Even at this distance, its presence is overwhelming. Much like the sensation I felt in the Tower of Sot, only far more terrifying. Ether flows unceasingly towards it, converging into a swirling mass of unfathomable power. For a blessing, the constant chill in the air is helping to anchor my senses in the here and now. Tell the others I shall be with you in a few moments. You will be pleased to know most of the Tempered have been squatted inside the nearby buildings and are receiving treatment as we speak. I do, however, feel no small amount of guilt for commandeering civilian homes. The occupants may be long gone, but everything is exactly as they left it. Considering the length of time that has clearly passed since, one would expect to find them ransacked. Strangely, there are no signs of anything having been stolen. It's possible that everyone fled at the first sign of trouble, though it seems to me they left far too many useful possessions behind. Although there is no conclusive evidence, I strongly suspect they were Tempered. Sorry, I was merely thinking aloud. You mentioned a meeting? I will make my way there. Virgilia is in our care, along with the rest of the Tempered. Glory to Garlemald, glory to Garlemald. They still whisper in their sleep, even as they writhe in pain. Roban taught me a lot about military strategy during exercises in the fringes, coordinating units with wildly different capabilities, surveying and securing hostile terrain, that sort of thing. Now I have the chance to put these teachings into practice. We have asked the Ironworks members and some of our other comrades to stay with the airships. In the event we are discovered, we must be ready to move them swiftly to a safer location. This is all that remains of Laterum. Homes become empty husks. If this is the state of the outlying villages, I dread to think what has become of the capital. Hell's bells, this place is bloody freezing. Rather be tied to the topmast in a storm than suffer this cold any longer. Anyone who can spare a swig of rum? That'll sort me right out. The Tempered soldiers are sleeping soundly while they undergo treatment. There are too many to attend at once, but I and the other healers will see to all, eventually. Thank you for informing the others of our meeting. When everyone is here, we will begin.
Our present situation is as follows. Efforts to aid the people of Garlemald have begun in earnest. Moreover, having entered into the capital, the Imperial Palace is within our reach.
But before we proceed further, we must learn what has befallen this city, for therein lies the key to understanding and combating the Telophoroid's designs.
I have a suggestion, if I may. Several of the Imperial soldiers we captured on the Magna Glacies are members of the Populares and acquaintances of mine. Once we have cured them of their tempering, they should be able to give a reliable account of the events leading to the capital's downfall.
A promising idea. I will assist the healers and their ministrations. Of course, I will require a porxia of my own, assuming you can spare one.
Would you like a hand?
No, I am sure we will manage. Better that you take my place in the field. The noxious ether of this place disagrees with me, and as I shall need to draw on my own for the treatment, 'twould be prudent for me to remain within the camp.
This talk of curing the Tempered is all well and good, but I reckon the cold is a more pressing concern. All the houses round here are fitted with ceruleum heaters that could keep us warm and toasty. Problem is, the machines seem to have given up the ghost, and if we keep sitting around, freezing our asses off, we'll be next. My smiths reckon that with the right parts, they can have them working again, but it won't be easy.
Understood. The machinists will assist them in the repairs.
The rest of us should either stand watch or survey the area.
We've made our presence known to the Telophroi. They will be searching for us, if they have not already ascertained our position. That we have seen no sign of them since the battle suggests they have yet to do so. However, I suspect they may be biding their time.
Or perhaps we are beneath their notice.
In any event, we'll find no answers standing around here. Urianje, Estinian and myself have visited Garlemald recently, so we'll lead the reconnaissance efforts. Perhaps bolstered by a few Bosnian and Dalmatian scouts from my previous excursion for good measure.
Don't forget about us Alamegans. We have experienced scouts of our own.
Well now, this is turning out to be a rather sizable team. With such numbers, we should be able to cover a wide area with relative ease, including that surrounding the Imperial Palace. How about you, Graha? I have a feeling we'll find a use or two for that vanishing spell of yours.
Twould be my honor to be of service, though I doubt that you of all people need rely on my tricks.
That leaves us with guard duty.
As a matter of fact, I have something else in mind for the two of you and Alphino. Between here and the center of the capital lies the Eblan Rhine. I would have you search the area for survivors. Your keen sense of direction, honed in your extensive travels, should prove useful in navigating the ice fields.
If there are any survivors, we will surely find them. Extensive travels is something of an understatement, but I suppose that there's nothing else that needs doing. Ice fields. I love ice fields. Oh wait, no I don't.
This too is a vital task, and I appreciate your willingness to see it done. Rest assured that a serving of hot soup will be waiting for you. You all have your duties. Let us make haste. May the Fury bless and keep you.
I've never thought myself much of an explorer, though I suppose my adventures have taken me to all sorts of strange and distant places. With that in mind, traversing an ice field should be a simple feat. Gods be good. If it's this cold with the Taro's clothing, I dread to think how we would fare without it. I must remember to thank her when next we meet. It makes me realize too that while the people of Garlemald have spent their whole lives in conditions like these, even if they would be hard-pressed to survive away from the warmth of their homes, if there are any survivors, we must find them, and quickly. What ho, chumps? Been given something to do, have you? As it happens, I too have been ordered to make myself useful. Sounds like a rather tall order. Since you ask, we are to scout the Eblan Rhine for survivors. What? Wander around ice fields on the off chance you'll find someone? You would take forever to finish the job without the benefit of my expertise, or more specifically, my telescope. Come friends, I know just the spot to begin our search. I'll probably regret this, but we may as well humor him. The few buildings I can see don't appear to be residences. They may still warrant investigation though. I'm surprised by how many wild beasts there are roaming about the place. Perhaps now that soldiers have gone, they're free to wander and forage as they please. I spy with my little telescope a massive sheep thing? Or maybe it's a cow. Not what we're after, either way. Is that an ether current? Oh no, just a wind spray. Other than that, it's all snow, snow, snow. But lo! What do I see over yon hillock? There's no mistaking it, that's a girl. A survivor? Show me. Over there, behind that tree. It looks like she's running away from something, though surely not us. She wouldn't even know we're here unless she had a telescope like mine. All I can tell is that she's wearing a pale green dress, a rather fetching one at that. She'll be long gone by the time we get anywhere near, but we should be able to follow her footprints. I'll let Lucia know where you're heading. Oh, and take these warming tinctures with you. The poor girl must be chilled to the bone, if not on the verge of freezing to death. That's actually very thoughtful, thank you, but won't you need some for yourself? No, I'll be fine. As a man of chivalry, my honor demands I do no less. And lest we forget, the very reason we are here is to protect those in need. Now go, and Godspeed. Prints in the snow. A trail of fresh footprints leads east. Whoa, cars! According to the label here, this place was used by those involved with extracting ceruleum. We're getting closer, I'm sure of it. At first, we thought she had gone inside the building, but the door doesn't look to have been opened in some time. She might still be nearby, so we'll keep looking around here. Then again, it's also possible that she ran past this place. Would you mind setting up ahead? The girl in the green dress anxiously surveys her surroundings. Were you to call out to her from this distance, it might attract wild beasts to your location. It would be safer to get closer first, but you must do so without drawing her attention. And how am I supposed to do that? Follow the girl from a safe distance. The objective will end in failure if you're noticed. So far, so good. Whose footprints are these? I must be imagining things. Better catch my breath. If those beasts spot me, I'm done for. I hope my luck holds. Got to keep going. They're all depending on me. Just a little farther. This is it. The final spurt. Still in one piece. Who are you? Stay back. This house is packed with explosives. Take another step and I'll blow this place sky high. Please, we just want to talk. Chill, woman. I'm Alfina. This is my sister, Alice, and our good friend Sagasite. We have no intention of hurting or taking anything from you or anyone else. I give you my word. We and our comrades have come to provide aid to the people of Garlemald. Aid? You savages are the ones responsible for all of this. You did this to us. We didn't, I promise you. One of the other reasons we came was to find out what happened here, in fact. The Teleforoi are the ones to blame. They are the ones who laid waste to Garlemald, and they won't stop until they have destroyed the entire world. They are the enemy, our enemy. On our way, we encountered Imperial soldiers who had been made their thralls. Those poor souls are now in our care, and we are striving to cure them of their affliction. You are the first person we have met who wasn't already enslaved. How were you able to escape the Teleforoi's influence? Are there any others like you? I'm sorry, I don't mean to overwhelm you. Let's start with introductions. Can you tell me your name? My name's Licinia. As for how I've managed to stay sane, I have been asking myself the same question. Ever since that night, and the roar, that terrible roar, and then the screams. I was screaming too, I think. I'm not sure, I can't remember. Then came the silence. Everything was still. It was like waking up from a nightmare. I thought that maybe the fighting had stopped, so I stepped outside. If your hells are real, I saw one that day. I ran Past friends, people I had known all my life. Eyes vacant, dead, staring at the sky. Others were mad and violent. I saw them struggle with soldiers, but didn't stay to watch. I fled as far as my legs would take me. Do you have family here? Is this their home? No, this is Victor's Spoils, a mansion for retired soldiers. Or it was, but now me and a few others are borrowing it. As for the explosives, I was making that up. I just wanted to keep everyone else safe, and I didn't know if you were. The truth is, our supplies are running low. You said you're here to help, can you? Of course, whatever assistance we can provide, we will. Thank you. I had better tell the others first, though. Wait here. This is everyone. Lysina says you can be trusted, but these are desperate times. We would be fools to let foreign troops into our home. Having said that, were you to provide us with means of heating the place, as a sign of goodwill, perhaps we could take you at your word. If that is too much to ask, then leave us be. Time to put my firewood gathering skills to use. Could you provide a spark with a little magic, Alice? We'll have a fire burning in no time. May we build it under that gazebo? The what? Oh, you mean the bower? Yes, do as you will. Sorry, I'm still finding it hard to come to terms with all that's happened. Now that you are here, though, I'm hoping things might change for the better. You know, I've worked up quite a sweat from all that running about, so I'll leave space around the fire for the others. As you can tell, they're in far worse state than me. We were planning to look for somewhere warmer or with more food, but they're not going anywhere until we nurse them back to health, which I don't know how to do. Is there anything you can do to help them? Before the Civil War, I was a student. The others were officials of some sort. I think, even after all this time together, we hardly know the first thing about each other. What I do know is this: we're Garleans. When times are hard, we stick together, no matter what. Radio. I can treat their frostbite and their wounds, but it will take time for the fire to do its work. Now would be a good occasion to make use of Emanelane's tinctures, the ones that can warm the body from the inside out. Would you make sure everyone gets one? The numbness is beginning to subside, though I suspect once the fire dies, it will return with a vengeance. Warming tincture? I have never heard of such a thing. No harm in trying, but tell me, have you heard aught of the city? Though calling it that seems absurd after what's happened. It's nothing but ruins now. The few buildings still standing offer no more than meager protection from wind and snow. Food production, water purification, the magitech that sustained us has come to a grinding halt. What machina that remains operational cannot be run for lack of cerulean. Of course, Cerulia Ingens is full of the stuff, for all the good it does to us. No one here knows the first thing about extraction or refinement. Oh, what sweet libation is this? Is it poison, by any chance? Haha, that was a joke. Haha. If I laugh, 'tis that I may not weep, so said the poet. And alas, my tears would freeze on my cheek ere they fell. We are the blessed damned, to bear witness to the fall of a great empire, while our brethren lie dead, or live on as puppets of flesh. First came the war, then came the roar. When morning came, Garlemald was no more. In a cacophony of gunfire, explosions and screams was our beloved capital razed to the ground. From the rubble rose the dishevelled remnants, their lavish finery caked in ash as they shuffled mindlessly towards the palace, each bearing a fragment of stone or metal, an offering perhaps to the architect of our destruction. A hopeful few tried to reason with the ranged, only to be beaten for the kindness. But I knew better than to plead with the Horde. I fled with my health, if not my conscience preserved. Now I wait with my fellow cowards for our final judgment. A tincture? Might as well drink it, I suppose. This? It's a radio. You don't have them where you come from, I take it. We use them to listen to messages sent by others, even over great distances. There are different types, but this model is by far the most popular. Made with quality components crafted with the finest ore. Sourced from Locus Amoenus, it is. Not all that useful since the capital fell into ruin. The people at the broadcasting station must have either fled or ended up like all the others, because all we have been hearing is the same music being played over and over again. Home beyond the horizon. An ode to the brave men and women sent to reclaim our ancestral homeland of Locus Amoenus. We may have founded an empire in these frozen wastes, but we always hoped to take back what was once ours. This solemn reminder that though we must suffer great hardship, better days will surely come. Despite everything, I believe that Emperor Varys yet lives, and that he speaks to us through our radios. It was a cunning strategy, faking his murder. He must have foreseen this catastrophe and chosen to conceal himself, that he may one day make his triumphant return. Yes, I'm sure of it. Emperor Varys would not be defeated so easily. Cuckoo! What's that? So this is what you gave the others. Thank you. I'll save it for later. Actually, I have a few things to ask you. Are you part of the group staying in Laterum? I saw the Legatus Virgilius troops heading towards the Magna Glacies a few days ago. Are they the ones you encountered? Camp Broken Glass, you call it. And Virgilia and her men are all there now. So how did you reach the Magna Glacies? Did you cross the mountains on foot? Airships? Then there might be a way to... Licinia, where is everyone? Is something the matter? A voice from inside, you say? You must be imagining things. Everyone's out here. Perhaps a baby Almasty has found its way into the house. It wouldn't be the first time. Without the soldiers to scare them off, wild animals have been roaming closer to the settlement. Some have been known to attack people too. I've just had an idea. If you and yours are strong enough to defeat a Legatus, then surely a few beasts shouldn't pose a threat. If you have a mind to continue helping us, perhaps you could head to the other side of the lake. There's a small group of tappers living there, people whose job was to extract ceruleum. They still do, from what we can tell. I have already tried asking if they would share their fuel with us, but they're not willing to give it away. They want food in exchange, lots of food, and that's something we don't have and can't get on our own. On top of that, to even reach their den, we would have to make our way past all those reaches. Would you be willing to go in our place? We only need enough ceruleum to last until the others are strong enough to travel to your camp, if the offer still stands, that is. Oh, and I don't expect you to give up your own supplies, but there may be another way to pay the tappers. You had best watch out for baby Almasties while we're out. Ah, yes, of course. If I see any, I'll be sure to shoo them away. To reach Tapper's den, you will have to cross the lake. The ice is thick enough to support a person's weight, but if you'd rather not take the risk, you'll need to take the long way around. Finding the entrance can be a bit tricky too, so it's easier to just look for someone standing guard outside. However you decide to head there, please be careful. Something's off. Who goes there? How did you find us? What do you mean I stand out like a sore thumb? If the purebloods over at Victor's spoils hadn't given away our location, you would never have found us. Those stock-up arseholes thought they could come waltzing in here demanding ceruleum with nothing to offer in return. Looks like the boot's on the other foot now, the capital's going to shite. so they have resorted to sending you to negotiate. I know your game, sellsword. If they think we'll give you in to intimidation, they have got another thing coming. Please consider me intimidated. There you are. Just after you left, Licinia asked me to go and catch up with you, in case you needed a hand. Someone must have let slip that I have little experience in transporting barrels of ceruleum. Suspicious. So this is Tapper's den. Well then, after you. Who are you? What happened to the gods? The Orsins and rebels here to save the people of Garlemald? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why in the hells would you pass up this chance to put those imperial bastards to the sword? Let me guess, none of you are Gallian. You were brought here from other lands? Giravania, Jangsha, Boschia, Dalmasca, to name but a few. Some dragged here against our will. Others fed bollocks about a better life, all put to work extracting ceruleum. All given the esteemed title of An, placing us firmly off the bottom rung of the ladder. But the old hierarchy means nothing in the new Garlemald, as says we, but the only thing that has escaped more or less unscathed is Cerulia Ingens, still sustaining us, even with our paymasters out of the picture. We hear you're expert in drawing up ceruleum from the bottom of the lake, but how can you do that if it's frozen over? Ha! Wouldn't you like to know? Trade secrets, I'm afraid. At any rate, it's not as if ceruleum is used for much these days, what with the city in ruins. We take enough to power our heaters and save the surplus for later. And though it helps stave off the cold, it does sod all about our hunger unless we can trade away. Speaking of which, be sure to tell your contingent we've got ceruleum by the barrelful. If they're interested, we'll exchange it for whatever provisions they're willing to spare. We can certainly ask, but if you're all free to go now, why carry on living here? Free to go? Go where? Even if we manage to get back to our homelands, there will be nothing left for us, thanks to the Empire, and the knowledge and skills we acquired working here will be practically useless outside of Garlemald. So we're staying for the time being. Long as there's need for ceruleum, we'll find a way to get by, even if Garlemald, as we knew it, is gone for good. Gone for good. Regardless of what the Ilsabard contingent does for the people of Garlemald, the Empire itself is already a thing of the past. For many that would be cause for celebration, while for others, their whole way of life will have been turned upside down. After all the atrocities committed in the Empire's name, perhaps it is for the best that it is consigned to history. But what of the ordinary people? Their lives, their stories? Should they be forgotten too? I suppose there'll be plenty of time to ponder that later. For now, let's see about getting some ceruleum. So you have come seeking ceruleum, have you? What? Those purebloods up at Victor's spoil sent you? To turn to their enemies for help, they must be more desperate than I had thought. Then again, Licinia's got her little sister to think about. A sister? But we only saw Licinia and 3 men. It's possible she died from whatever was ailing her. If she needed treatment, I doubt there would be any way to get it around here. I may have refused Licinia at first, thinking she would come back with something to exchange, but I can spare them a bottle's worth of ceruleum. Consider it a reward for introducing me to the rest of your contingent. Be sure to send them our way, you hear? I can't for the life of me think why Licinia would keep her sister a secret from us, but we can ask about that after we have delivered this ceruleum. Come on, let's hurry back. Truly, why would she hide a sister? This isn't right. It's too quiet. I would have thought Alfino would still be treating them by the fire, but they're nowhere to be seen. I'll look inside the house, while you search outside. They can't have gone far. Oh dear. Ah, damn it all. They asked me to help carry supplies, but when I followed them back here, they attacked me. Caught me off guard, forced me to defend myself. I fear they fared rather worse than me. You can't fool us. We know what you're about. Vultures, that's what you are. Waiting in the wings for us to show weakness, then in you swoop. Here to help? What rot. All a ploy to make us lower our guard. Let you in, put ourselves at your mercy. Put us in chains, steal our lands, get your revenge. You're wrong. That's not what any of us want. Save the arguments for later. We've got bigger problems. I found empty medicine bottles and a bed that was still warm. It's true, Licinia was hiding her sick sister inside the house. But now there's no sign of either of them. Where are they? Where did they go? Away from you and yours, and if you think I'll tell you, you're a fool. I would never give up my people. We're trying to help them, you idiot. Her sister's ill, the empty bottles prove it, so the medicine ran out, or she put it in her pockets to make it easier to carry, or to avoid the sound of clinking glass. There are beasts everywhere. How could you let them go alone? To protect them from you. You invade our homeland, tainted with the same sorcery used to slay our countrymen. A guardian should sooner die than suffer the insult. Better for them to flee, keep their purity intact, than be corrupted by your vile magics. We were waiting for a chance to free them, since the moment you arrived. This is getting us nowhere. I cannot say how Licinia and her sister will react when we find them, but find them we must. Go on without me, both of you. I first need to tend to my injuries, and theirs. I will join you in the search after. Alright, be careful. We'll do our best to find them quickly. There's only one path out of here, so that's where we'll start. Two sets of fresh footprints. Young women, judging by their size. This is definitely them. Come on. The trail stops at the frozen lake. Perhaps they chose this route so as to not leave footprints. I can't think of any other reason. Look at this place. It's crawling with beasts, and I can only imagine how hard it must be for her ailing sister to cross the ice. We could really do with Alfino's help, but we can't afford to wait for him. Let's split up and look for clues. The empty bottle smells faintly of alcohol. The thin coating of dirt indicates that it has been here for some time, and is unlikely to have any connection to Licinia or her sister. That's not good. The blood stain in the snow appears to be fresh. Judging by the amount, the victim may have been severely wounded. The trail of blood leads southeastwards. Ooh. Ooh. The 2 bodies are already cold. Damn. What attacked them?
Blood trail. We found one. They were attacked. No. Why wouldn't they?
Safer to brave the wilds than trust in our magic. We should have... I should have... We can't leave them like this. We have to take them home.
What if we're only making it worse?
Maybe we don't belong here, but neither do they. Not out here in the wind and the cold. I heard the story about Varus's voice from beyond the grave. Of course, I didn't believe it, but Licinia and her sister did. Perhaps there is something to the tale after all. I want to understand, so I'm going to borrow this for a while, if that's all right. You had every reason not to trust us. We came as trespassers, invaders. But I pray that in time, we will be more than that to you. That we will find a way to help your loved ones. And see that no more children are left to freeze alone in the snow.
There must have been something we could have done. But what? Should we have never come here? Would they still be alive if we hadn't? We have already caused enough harm here. Let us return to the camp before we cause any more. As for those inside the house, we should send someone to take care of them. Someone who isn't us. All we can do for now is make our reports to Lucia and do everything in our power to prevent further tragedy. So let us linger here no more. Come. Alisaia and Alfino tell me they have finished the preliminary search for survivors, but refrained from saying much more than that. Clearly they are reluctant to provide details. Might I ask for your account?
Thank you for your report. We shall inform the troops of these developments, and instruct them to proceed with the utmost caution should they encounter any survivors.
Allow me to go and speak with the ones at the victor's spoils. They may be more willing to listen to a fellow Garlean and accept our offer of assistance.
I pray you are right. And though I am loath to burden you any further, should there be an appropriate occasion to speak of Lacinia and her sister, please do so.
I am sorry to have put you through this.
My distress is nothing compared to their suffering. So tell me, what else have we learned?
As you may have already heard, we have succeeded in curing the members of the Populares, Maxima identified. They have provided us with some intriguing insights into the current state of Garlemald. The assassination of Emperor Varus was the catalyst for the civil war. Nerva declared his claim to the throne, and his opponents refused to recognize it. Fighting broke out in the capital, where Nerva's 3rd Legion clashed with the 1st, who remained loyal to Varus even after his death.
Of course, even Imperial warmongers would balk at the idea of turning their shining city into a battleground. Like burning down the wood to spite the wasps. Neither side would be so mad. Unless something or someone inflamed their animosity to such an extent that they could not help but act against their better judgment.
It brings to mind events at the Gimlet Dark, does it not? The Emperor's sudden withdrawal from the front lines, specifically. Nerva and his father, Titus, Varus's then political rival, took advantage of rumors that Crown Prince Zenos had been possessed by a demon.
Elidibus, what better way to disparage your enemies than with the truth, or a close enough approximation?
Indeed. But before their accusations could be substantiated, many of Titus's followers were silenced. While some were merely stripped of their status, others died under curious circumstances. One after another, suddenly and suspiciously.
Again, Elidibus. Like as not, he had a hand in it. No evidence was found to implicate Varus, certainly. Nevertheless, Titus, Nerva, and the 3rd Legion would have judged it a brazen attempt by the Emperor to rid himself of his political enemies. And then, in the midst of this growing turmoil, Varus Sosgalvis is murdered. And Garlemald's own prodigal son, Gaius van Belsar, is named the murderer. Shortly thereafter, Nerva claims the right of succession, and in response, the 1st Legion claims the assassination was part of a coup d'etat orchestrated by Titus and Nerva.
So no one is at fault, and everyone else is to blame.
I should add that both parties received substantial financial backing, presumably to provide them with the means and encouragement to pursue a swift victory, and that these contributions came from the self-same benefactor.
I'd heard House Brutus had been filling the 3rd Legion's coffers, but the 1st as well.
It would seem so. Though the Populares determined that the 1st Legion received funds from a variety of organizations, all had connections to House Brutus.
So Fandaniel, in the guise of Asahi, was playing both sides against each other the entire time.
The information we gained from my friends does not end there. One night, shortly after fighting broke out, the capital was shaken by an immense tremor. From that point onward, they have no memories, no recollection of any events, including our clash on the Magna Glacies. But when asked about the Imperial Palace and its bizarre transformation, they somehow recall Emperor Varus giving them orders in their dreams.
Okay.
May the Tower of Babil stand as testament to the glory of Garlemald.
This sounds awfully familiar.
We have something to show you all.
Varys spoke to them through this radio. Perhaps it was a recording, but if not, that would be inexplicable.
We are of one mind, then.
The ether that permeates the ore used in this device is almost identical to that of the talismans.
I see it. While it is likely more by coincidence than design, these devices might also ward against a primal's influence. A picture is beginning to form. If the tremor felt throughout Garlemald was a wave of ether emitted by a primal, then while those within range would have been tempered, those huddled around a radio desperate for news concerning the civil war would have been spared.
No wonder Licinia kept it close.
A young man was caught trying to steal our supplies. He is a soldier of the Iron Men, we think, but one who has not been made thrall. Thankfully, Magni restrained him before blood was spilled. The stranger is outside, if you wish to ask him questions.
I think we do.
Obviously. Oh, that's the blue-haired fellow.
Who do we have here?
Garleans? Traitors to your homeland! Have you no shame?
I am Lucia Junius, a Temple Knight of Ishgard. And you are?
Jullus Pier Norbanus. And that's all you invaders will get from me.
Jullus Pier Norbanus. Jullus. Who the hell is this guy?
We are not here to invade Garlemald. Far from it. Like you, our allies in Eorzea and the Far East fight in defense of their lives and their loved ones even as we speak. But it is the people of Garlemald who have suffered most. This we know. And that is why we have come to offer you our aid, that we may unite against our common foe. Whether you believe me or not, those are the facts. Now, answer me this. Why would a proud soldier of the Empire be reduced to stealing? The situation must be dire indeed for you to go to such lengths. If it is supplies you seek, we would gladly share ours, or turn a blind eye while you leave with your spoils.
I will not negotiate. My commander will determine how to deal with you and yours. If you wish to treat with him, I will take you, but no more than 3.
My commander?
I don't much like the sound of that. But if we do accept his proposal, I suggest the 2 of us and...
Please allow me and Alize to act as envoys.
May I ask why?
We have seen with our own eyes the hardships the Garleans face. How their futures and lives hang in the balance.
It's not the warmest invitation, but it's an opportunity to prove our intentions true. Maybe not a chance to make things right, but a chance to make them better.
I'm going with you.
I can see that persuading you otherwise is a lost cause, but you will proceed with the utmost care.
couple of children and what? A sellsword? Is this an insult?
Not in the least. You will find that they are more than qualified to speak on our behalf.
There are many dangers on the road ahead. I will need that back.
You will be received as invited guests, and so I urge you to observe proper social etiquette and conduct yourselves accordingly. Your safe return takes precedence above all else. Remember this. Thancred in particular will be worried sick if you are gone too long. May the Fury watch over and keep you. Are you and the children ready? I will explain the route once we are outside the camp. If anyone attempts to follow us, we will judge it an act of hostility. We will not hesitate to take appropriate measures. I would expect nothing less. You have our full cooperation. We will do only as instructed. After all, this is what we have been striving for ever since we arrived. Where do you think their headquarters are? I assume there are a few others beside him and this commander he mentioned. Alright, this is far enough. Listen carefully. We head over that hill, then follow the road until we reach Liminal Station 4. Children in the lead, I want you where I can see you. We do have names, you know. I'm Alice and he's Alphino. And last but not least, there's Sagasite. Sagasite? Where have I heard that before? No matter. Alphino and Alice will watch the road ahead, while we bring up the rear. I wasn't lying about there being many dangers, so you are to run, not saunter, run towards the station. If you even think about going for your weapon, the deal's off. Should any creatures bar the way, we go around them. Ready to make a dash for the station? Yes. This is it. The first stop, that is. Good. It looks like your friends knew better than to follow us. Are these your headquarters? No. We're stopping here so I can check you for pursuers. Since it appears you have kept to your side of the bargain, we can carry on. North of the station is Regio Urbanissima, one of the main residential areas, or at least it was. The afflicted roam the streets in packs. They'll tear us to shreds if given the chance. Keep close, no wandering off, understood? From here, we'll be heading northeast, keeping to the left of the railway. While the route itself is straightforward, getting past the hordes unseen is anything but. Keep your weapons at the ready. They would attack their own countrymen? Aye. They spared their own, but slaughtered the rest without hesitation. Though we'll try to avoid detections, the chances of sneaking by completely unnoticed are slim at best. I will lead the way, but in the event we are seen, you're to fight them off. Those two will follow us, provided they can refrain from drawing their weapons. While I doubt they would be foolish enough to stab their guide in the back, I will not take that chance. With that said, let us proceed. Gods damn it, we're perfectly capable of holding our own. We must stay alert. I see why your comrades chose you. Jullus, our contingent has a cure for the afflicted, or tempered, as we call them. Your people would need to be taken into custody that we may administer the treatment, but they would eventually regain their sanity. Is that so? For all I know, your treatment would simply force them to forsake one master for another. As far as I and my legion are concerned, they are no longer our people. They're beyond saving. Those who thought differently and tried to reason with them were butchered for their bleeding hearts. Come, we have to keep moving. I hate to watch you bear this burden alone. Looks like we're not being followed. We will continue onward. He truly believes there's nothing that can be done for them. No wonder he isn't afraid to get his hands dirty. The surest way to limit casualties is to reach our destination without drawing attention to ourselves. Perhaps afterwards we can try again to convince Jullus that the Tempered can be saved. I mean what I said. These people deserve only death. I stayed my hand before only out of a desire to remain undiscovered, and that is still the higher priority. We should continue to avoid any unnecessary confrontations. Keep following the railway. Such a transformation is likely irreversible. To think they were once ordinary people. Look at what they have become. Would you still stand there and claim that they can be cured? Those exposed to a vast quantity of a primal's ether may suffer severe corruption. Even with treatment, such victims are beyond salvation. Then you admit it. Now that you have seen these monstrosities for yourself, perhaps you will think twice before speaking of a cure. Even here in the outskirts, it's plain to see how vastly different Garlemald is compared to other cities. Though I wish there was another way, I thank you for keeping us from harm. We're almost there. You have kept to your side of the agreement, so I will keep mine, this way. Yep, underground. This is Tertium, one of Garlemald's largest stations. It now serves as our headquarters. I have already sent the twins ahead. I will be with you soon, so wait for me at the bottom of the stairs. I had no idea they had such expansive structures built underground. It's plain to see why they chose this as their base of operations. They could have done a lot worse. Even so, I imagine it's not the easiest place to live. Indeed, and if Jullus was willing to make the perilous journey to Camp Broken Glass in search of food, their own supplies must be all but exhausted. They may be shielded from the wind and snow, but still bitterly cold. Much like Victor's spoils, it must be a constant struggle to keep their people warm. Lower your voices. While you may be here as my guests, the others will not take kindly to your presence. My commander is in the locomotive, over there. Oh, I know who this is going to be. That's the guy with the armor from the trailer, who may or may not be Nero. No, it's not Nero. I will deal with you in a moment.
These are their chosen representatives.
Very well. Let us hear what they have to say.
Yes, sir. I present to you our commander, Lord Quintus van Cinna, Legatus of the First Legion.
The First? I had no idea you had survived.
We lost our Emperor, our city, more than half our troops. For my wounds, I may never take the field again. But we survived, aye. In a manner much to your liking, I dare say.
We have no intention of adding to your misfortunes, nor do we bear you any ill will.
Spare me. Though you children may speak in earnest, overtures of peace ever ring hollow in my ears. So long as man stands to profit from his neighbor's suffering, war is inevitable. Driven from our ancestral homeland into this blasted waste. Yet still you yearned to rob us of our paltry scraps. 'Twas only with Magitech that you learned to keep your distance. Though we knew it was only a matter of time before you regrouped and returned. Conquest and empire were our only defenses. Emperors Solus and Varus understood this, and through their campaigns saw us grow and prosper. Much blood has been spilled in Garlemald's name, aye. But if it is a choice between yours and mine, then it is hardly a choice at all.
I do not deny that a great many conflicts throughout history were driven by the desire or necessity to gain by another's loss. That is not why we are here. Nor have we come to petition your aid in the war with the Telophoroi, grave though that threat may be. Our purpose is simply this. We wish to help you. Let us help you. If there is aught that can be done to ease your plight, we would be glad to do it.
Perhaps you would. But regardless of the ideals you espouse, your leaders would not send an army into Garlemald if they did not stand to benefit. If we accept their aid, they will expect their efforts to be rewarded once the Telophoroi are no longer a threat. And after compensation and concessions, the great empire would be brought to heel. Her enemies rejoice at her downfall. Our third eye, a mark of shame.
We won't stand idly by and let your people be humiliated. And we're not alone in that. We only want to make a difference, to make this world of ours better. Surely you can understand that. What I'm trying to say is, there are so many people who just don't care about making you suffer. And maybe that's almost insulting after all the suffering you feel the world has subjected your people to, but believe it or not, that's the truth. And now we're here, and all we're asking is for you to tell us what you want, what you hope for.
So much blood has been shed, so much lost. All because of this endless war. Who wouldn't want to end it? Can we not work together to face our problems as one?
Answer me this, young peacemakers. If a world without conflict is your desire, why reject the unity and prosperity of Garlemald?
Because you want conquest.
Is it because we do not share your faith? That we do not share your heritage? That our ideals and virtues differ? That we cherish and hold in the highest that which you do not? Disparity is the root of discord, and peace built on compromise is flawed and fleeting. Happiness for one and all is a dream, and the reality is that to the victor go the spoils. That is why we Garleans will never submit nor surrender. For freedom and for pride, we will remain true to ourselves until the bitter end. That is my hope. It seems there is nothing more to say on the matter.
What? Okay.
You will remain here while I decide what is to be done with you. Do not be alarmed. No harm will come to you.
No, do not be alarmed. They just have an entire contingent of people aiming their weapons at you. It's fine.
We will not resist. However, as your guests, I ask that we be allowed to speak with the other members of your group.
As you wish. I had no intention of locking you up, as by dawn you would be frozen stiff and you're no good to me dead. You are free to move about the encampment, but there is one condition. Collar them.
What are these?
Incentive. You'll be watched at all times. Stray too far or act suspiciously, and we will administer a rather painful shock.
And then they ask why.
Stop! Keep away from that one. The champion of Eorzea is not so easily cowed. Even if she allowed herself to be collared, the shock would be no more than an itch. No. If she refuses to obey, we will activate the twins' restraints instead.
You needn't worry about us.
We'll forget we're even wearing them soon enough.
Even now, you still... Why go to such lengths? What is it all for?
Because even the most bitter adversary may one day see reason. On the coldest, blackest of night, meager though it may be, we must share the warmth of our fire. The second option was nice, but very poetic.
You are a curious one. A far cry from the merciless barbarian others paint you to be. You will be their warden. Take them away.
Yes, sir.
I have to remind myself not to touch it, even if it starts to itch. I had rather not set it off by It will take more than a trifle such as this to deter us. Compared to what Garlemald's people have suffered in recent days, these colors are a minor inconvenience. As per Lord Quintus' instructions, I am to supervise you during your time here in Tertium. Before you ask, no, I don't have a key or any other means to remove your colors, nor would I tell you if I did. And if you try anything, you will soon wish you hadn't. So, do you truly intend to speak with the others, or was that merely a ruse? We are in no hurry to disobey Lord Quintus, if that's what you mean. Or perhaps you doubt the wisdom of his decision. Do as you will, but remember, I will be watching. If I catch wind of you doing anything untoward, trying to trick our people into turning their coats and the like, those shock collars will be the least of your worries, understood? Though we're somewhat compromised, to put it lightly, let's not waste this opportunity. I suggest splitting up and learning what we can of their situation. And above all else, do not use magics of any sort. You, on the other hand, may go wheresoever you wish, even outside the camp. I know full well I couldn't stop you if I tried. But do not forget, if you do anything to endanger us or our interests, Alfinod and Alice will pay the price. You came with Jullus, didn't you? Well, whatever business brought you here, you had best keep your hands off that aetherite. It's deactivated, but I'd rather you didn't mess about with it. There are others throughout the city, built by Garleans, for Garleans. Could teleport all over in the blink of an eye, provided there was a terminal nearby. These days, however, we use the aetherite's power to keep this place lit, though that comes at the cost of its normal function. The radio is the same model as the one used at Victor's spoils. Perhaps it is what saved the soldiers here from being tempered. I know who you are, the so-called champion of Eosia. Come to gloat, have you? I'll wipe that smirk off your face. By the blood of our fallen compatriots, I swear I'll... Damn, though the sutures. Of all the times, the worst of the lot within striking distance, and I can't even muster the strength. If it weren't for the third bleeding us, we would be the end of you. Virgilia's treachery nearly cost Lord Quintus his life, but we made our escape, took shelter in a mansion, tended to the wounded as we prepared to strike back, and then night fell and we gathered around the radio. Then the roar, the terrible roar. The capital was in chaos, but we were spared. If you can call this a mercy. Mind intact, but body broken. A soldier in name alone. I would cut you down with your stand if I could. Murder. So cold. This young soldier is on the verge of losing consciousness. It's you, Sagasai Luxelui. I served under Lord Gaius in the 14th Legion. I was there on the night the Praetorium fell. You and your adventurers. You killed them. My comrades, my friends. Swept them aside in their dozens, as though they were nothing to you. And maybe I am too. Just another faceless enemy to be cut down. But it won't be long until our countrymen return, until you get what you deserve. Mark my words. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone, but this people is crazy. Did you learn anything of note? Everyone hates us. Then your findings are consistent with my own. Their plight is desperate indeed. The second injured are at great risk. Without warmth and proper nutrition, I fear they will soon perish. I realize there is precious little we can do for them at the present, but I cannot bear to see them suffer. Please, will you help me tend to them? Who's there? My eyes, I can see all that well. Ah, thank you. The numbness has subsided a little. But I know I won't last much longer. You should look to the others who can still fight. Give them my ration. If me going hungry means someone else lives to see another day, so be it. At least I can still serve it that way. So those you met fare no better? I was afraid you would say that. I know we were warned against meddling in their affairs, but we can't leave them like this. Perhaps we might gain permission to have the contingent deliver supplies. Quintus may have made his feelings on the matter quite clear, but even he must recognize they are not in a position to refuse help. Maybe Jullus could persuade him? though we would need to persuade Jullus first. Well, silly enough. Jullus, the people here have barely enough food and fuel to survive. Have you and the other soldiers been able to procure any more supplies? We have been scavenging provisions from the nearby houses, as most families kept some stored away in the event they were snowed in. Still, going out and getting it is dangerous work, and we have a lot of mouths to feed. Fuel is the greater concern, though. We had some ceruleum set aside until it was stolen. We haven't identified the culprit. Could have been other refugees or one of the afflicted for all we know. Either way, we're down to the last dregs. Without the heating they need, those in poor health are only going to get worse instead of better. If it's ceruleum you need, our contingent has secured a ready supply. We can have some sent over. We will not accept your charity. If we can hold on a little longer, the situation is sure to change. Aye, everything will change. One of your comrades mentioned something along those lines. Those mysterious countrymen of yours, I assume? Heard something of it, have you? Well, from what I have seen, there's little you could do to interfere, so there's no harm in telling you. One of our scouts spotted a hooded man issuing instructions to the afflicted, or in the bastard's words, loyal servants of the Tenephoroi. Then he made his way inside the Imperial Palace, or what stands in its place. We had identified the seat of the enemy's power, we realized. Lord Quintus dispatched a messenger to the 10th Legion saying as much, and instructing them to join forces with the Provincial Legions to prepare for a combined assault on the Tenephoroi. Once our allies arrive, your contingent will be sent running for the hills. Then we shall reclaim the capital by our own hand. And how do you intend to survive in the meantime? At this rate, many of your countrymen will perish long before reinforcements reach Garlemald. They need help now. Say the word and we will bring you ceruleum. I will speak with Lord Quintus. So, did he agree to it? No, he will not place Garlemald in the depth of her enemies. I have, however, been ordered to search for ceruleum outside. As you are under my watch, you will come with me. Very well. After all, many hands make light work. You lot are more trouble than you're worth. Once we are outside, you will follow my instructions to the letter. We depart shortly. Such stubbornness. We will begin our search for ceruleum in Regio Urbanissima. The first location is Forum Solius, a park to the northwest of this station. You are to remain close at all times and act only as ordered. Follow me. This is the place. To think this macabre graveyard for War Machina was once a park. So this is the park. I'm surprised they found space for one amongst all these buildings. Actually, the recreational areas came first. The houses were later built around them. A healthy society requires communal spaces for children to play and adults to socialize. This park was named after the founding father of the empire, the great Solus Sos Galbus. Did we come to extract ceruleum from the wrecked Magitech armor? No, we have already drained it dry. Same goes for the rest of Machina in the vicinity. But as our ceruleum has been stolen, we must scour the city for every last drop. And while I don't expect to find anything here, I have decided to try one more time in case something has been overlooked. I see. Then with your permission, we will commence the search. Though rather small by Guardian standards, the structure is reminiscent of a merchant's stall. Perhaps it was built for children to play at shopkeeper. There is nothing inside resembling Magitech or any other devices that would be fueled by ceruleum. A cursory inspection of the wrecked Magitech armor confirms that the fuel canisters have long since been drained of ceruleum, as Jullus said. Several points of interest are marked on the map of Forum Solius: the pond, children's play areas. To your knowledge, however, none would require the use of ceruleum. The contraption is built in the style of Imperial War Machina, armed with a battery of weapons and capable of transforming into different configurations, but on closer inspection it appears to be no more than a children's slide. Oh, it's you. Any luck? There's no sign of any ceruleum. Hardly surprising, but disappointing nonetheless. I couldn't help noticing you gazing at the pond. Is something the matter? What? Yes. I mean, no, it's just, I used to bring my brother and sister here to play. The pond was heated to stop it from freezing over, so like all the other children, they just have to wade in and splash about. Would have stayed there if I didn't drag them out. We would be sopping wet when all was said and done. Every time. And every time, when we would get home, Mother would scold us, saying we would catch our death walking around like that. The pond was heated. With a ceruleum-powered heater by chance? I suppose it must have been. Come to think of it, I remember seeing engineers changing out a tank beneath the hatch. But that was a long time ago, when the water still flowed clear and wasn't this brackish muck. We can't see a thing, and I can't remember where the hatch might be. With the machinery most likely broken, the amount of filth in there is probably the only reason it hasn't frozen over. I would wager it's still unbearably cold, though. Jullus, what are your thoughts on magic? The average Guardian would jump out of their skin if they saw it, but the first he has a few foreign Signiferi and Medici, so it doesn't scare me. Then I take it you won't mind if I employ a little now. Avino, as you have a knack for finding dry wood, why don't you bring me some? Once that's done, a blast of burnt fire should do the trick. Leave it to me. You're not planning to go in there, are you? Of course I am. That tank isn't going to fetch itself. It's nothing so involved as extracting unprocessed ceruleum from a frozen lake like how the Tapios do it. We're talking about a shallow pond in a park, and we have a way of warming ourselves up after. But that's insane! So, fancy a dip? A little friendly competition might make things interesting. The last thing we need is you catching a cold. Step aside while I drink the pond dry. That way we'll find it in no time. Last one to find a ceruleum tank is a rotting egg, though I dare say we'll both smell like rotting eggs when this is over. You delve into the murky water but come up empty-handed. To add injury to insult, the icy wind on your damp clothing chills you to the bone. It's fine. You delve into the murky water, become empty-handed. Blah 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 blah. Same. Beneath the water, your fingers catch on what you think might be a handle. You open the hatch and retrieve a cerulean tank. However, your grand discovery comes at a great personal cost, as you become acutely aware of the freezing cold and the rancid odor emanating from every limb of your body. Jullus will doubtless feel compelled to pinch his nose shut when you deliver to him your prize. Did you find anything? I hope you did. Uncovering hidden treasure is an adventurous bread and butter, though one is not normally required to go elbow deep in ice-cold, stagnant pond water to retrieve it. Nevertheless, many would choose that over moving down hordes of slavering beasts or solving annoying puzzles. That's it. And there's still some ceruleum left. The fire is still not ready. Hold on, I'll give Alfina a hand. Call me an Uldan, because by fire I am reborn, and my clothes are mostly dry now too. I appreciate you recovering the ceruleum, but I wish you had taken the time to discuss the plan with me beforehand. Despite the way you have been treated, in Lord Quintus's eyes you're still envoys deserving of protection. If you were to die on my watch, he would be most displeased. Your concern is duly noted, but all's well that ends well. Jullus, you mentioned coming here with your younger siblings. Did you grow up in Garlemald? I did, not far from here. My father was an accomplished researcher in his youth, and for his contributions to the Empire, awarded an estate. We lived well, better than many. What was Garlemald like in those days? Everything. It was everything you could imagine, and so much more. Even during the coldest winters, we always found warmth and comfort at home. Coming in from the snow, taking off your coat and sitting down for a hot meal, with family, visiting friends and relatives, receiving the same welcome, knowing they had everything they needed, walking down the street, seeing the lights in all the houses, hearing the faint sounds of laughter and song, of happiness. And although the summers came and went all too quickly, in that brief respite, the ice would melt and the forgotten grass make its triumphant return. Grey clouds gave way to blue skies. Some mornings we would climb to the top of the tallest building we could find to watch the sun rise. Never again. Those rooftops are rubble, those friends dead, and those memories. But if I could reclaim even a fraction of what we once had. Soon our chance will come. We just need to hold on a little longer. Alright, now that you have recovered from your escapades in the pond, there's another location I would like to search, just outside the park. As you can see, this place is littered with the remnants of various types of war machina. While my comrades and I have already recovered the tanks from the less damaged units, those that took a more severe beating are harder to scavenge. We decided to save those for another time, that time being now. Rather than price them apart, piece by piece, it would be quicker to remove the outer casing using compact explosives. With luck, we'll gain access to the tanks without rupturing them. Though the force generated by these devices is relatively weak, I would advise you stand well clear to avoid being hit by any shrapnel. Before even bothering, though, You should check the Machina's ceruleum gauge to see if there's any left. It should still provide an accurate reading even when the unit itself is inactive. If the gauge is broken, I'll let you decide whether to use an explosive or not. Should you need more, come to me. Understood. Let's get to work. Destroyed Magitech armor. According to the ceruleum gauge, this unit's full tank is empty. The ceruleum gauge on this unit appears to have been broken, giving you no way to determine how much fuel its tank may hold. After successfully removing the War Machina's outer casing and retrieving the ceruleum tank, you find it to be completely empty. You retrieve the War Machina's ceruleum tank to find it's still half full, or half empty, depending on one's perspective. Either way, Jullus will surely be pleased by your discovery. More explosives? Wait, is that what I think it is? Not only did this tank survive the attack that disabled the War Machina in which it was installed, it also escaped the blast of your explosives unscathed. If medals for outstanding service were awarded to inanimate objects, this champion among ceruleum tanks would surely deserve one. You have done it again. Truly, luck is on your side. With this, we should be able to refuel quite a few of our heaters. It's time we head back. Wait here while I go and see how Alice and Alfino are faring.
Finally escaped the watchful gaze of your keepers, have we? Don't react. You'll only draw attention to yourself. Just carry on as you are and listen. After you left with the Garlean lad, Lucia bade a few of us scouts follow you at a discreet distance. We observed you being led into the station, but decided against venturing inside. When you emerged sometime later, and we saw that the twins were sporting Magitech collars, it was clear what had taken place. Now, as quietly as you can, tell me everything. The Legatus himself, eh? Now there's a surprise. This is also the first I've heard of a plan to join forces with the 10th and storm the Tower of Babil. An interesting development, and perhaps the opportunity we've been waiting for. Our comrades back at the camp also received some rather promising news, but it's still too early to get our hopes up. For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them. With luck, this will all be over soon. Until then.
They had not gone far.
We searched high and low, but no luck, I'm afraid. I might have guessed you'd be the only one to find anything.
I wasn't expecting much to begin with. Eventually, there will be nothing left out here for us to safely salvage. For now, this will have to suffice. We should return to the station.
Ah, there you are. Heard you'd gone hunting for ceruleum above ground. Brought back a king's ransom?
Hardly. But thanks to these three, we have enough to last a little while longer.
Well, well. It's not at all as I was expecting, these ones. For savages, they seem positively docile. is a poor attempt at humour. In all honesty, I'm grateful for your efforts. But even with another night of warmth, there are those among us who may not live to see the morrow.
I trust your expedition was fruitful.
Lord Quintus!
Use what you procured to refuel the armor.
Armor?
But, sir, what about the heaters for the camp?
The time for action is upon us. My men and I have matters to discuss. In the meantime, you are to wait here. Do not forget, you are being watched.
The time for action. What did he mean by that?
I can only speculate. Clearly something requiring their magitech, given what we just heard. Whether they plan to utilize it now, or after they join with the 10th, is another question. Will they ever escape this cold? Return to and reclaim the idyllic spaces of which Jullus spoke?
Finished your war, Council?
Alphino and Alizé are to stay here as our prisoners. They will be released once your comrades have relinquished their supplies and withdrawn from Garlean soil. Until our terms are met, they will be detained at a separate location.
After everything we've said and done, this is how you treat us.
Our allies have but limited supplies. They may stave off cold and starvation for a short while, but what then?
For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them.
Do as he says.
Get them out of here.
Alphino and Alizé will be fine, providing they do not resist. You will accompany me back to your camp, where I will meet with your leader and present Lord Quintus's demands. Before we depart, however, there is something I will ask of you. Assuming your contingent complies, the supplies they surrender will need to be transported here. That task falls to Legionaries Marcellinus and Octavia, who will pilot Magitech armor to your headquarters. You are to inform them that we are leaving shortly. Tell them to ask the IYL for further details in those words. Ask the IYL. Il. Once you have seen to that, meet me by the exit. You again. Ask the heel, he said. So that's to be the way of it, after all this. How ironic that you should be the one to deliver the news. If those are my orders, then so be it. For the glory of Garlemald. What do you want with me? Ask the eel. So Lord Quintus has reached a decision. I knew he would understand, that he would recognize the savage is a ruthless, merciless creature, and to defeat him we too must be uncompromising. I am ready. In the name of Emperor Varys, for the glory of Garlemald, I will fulfill my duty. Have you done as instructed? The duties involve more than the transportation of supplies, don't they? Duty is rarely a simple thing. We have been giving additional orders, though whether we will be required to follow them depends entirely on your contingent. You and I are in this together now. Like it or not, we have to cooperate. There is one other matter, a place I would like to visit on the way to your camp. It's a short walk from here. Follow me. Give me a moment, please. Jullus lingers by the ruins, reluctant to leave and reluctant to stay, unable to move on.
This is my home. Our home. At least it was, until that night. I was with Lord Quintus when the capital fell, and thus spared. My family, who did not own a radio, were less fortunate. When dawn came, I made my way here. My parents, my little brother and sister, they were still inside. But they weren't themselves, and they tried to. And I had to.
Damn.
I'd promised to take them away from the capital that very morning, to somewhere safe, to hide until the fighting stopped. I promised. Garlean flag bears a chain, the bonds between our countrymen. A red link at its center, the blood of the fallen. Our loved ones who lived and died for Garlemald. But if she too fell, who would be left to remember them and their sacrifice? What enduring proof would there be that they were ever here? If we had turned to your gods, would they have saved us? I'm sorry, I forget I spoke. We should go.
No use.
Believe me, I do not enjoy being here any more than you. But she wanted us to play along, so that is what we will do.
It's so cold.
Painfully so. Unbearably.
I've been thinking about what Quintus said. About why no one would accept Garlean rule. Irreconcilable differences. When coexistence isn't an option, only conquest remains. Varys at Gimlet said much the same. Only by uniting the world beneath a single standard would we rid ourselves of the Ascians. United as one people. One race cleansed of imperfections. A cold and unforgiving vision. And when we fail to live up to their standards, what place is there for us in their world? But the truly sad, truly frustrating thing is how damnably similar it all is to the lofty ideals of Father and the Forum. Non-intervention. Always non-intervention. Protect our knowledge and our people, and to hells with the rest of you. And yet, I can see how it happened. Varys and Father looked to their elders for guidance and took their virtues as their own. But for this world was of their making. In who else could they place their trust? All of us lost in a sea of chaos, searching desperately for purpose and meaning. But it shouldn't just be an extension of another's. It has to be ours. It has to be. We all have a stake in this world. No one should be silenced.
I won't deny that we lack the experience of people such as Father or Quintus. Perhaps they've come to see the world as a series of problems, and the most efficient way of solving them, to reduce everything to fundamental forms. A stone is a stone, a cloud, a flower, no more than that. Simple descriptions that strip the subject of distinguishing characteristics. A man is a man, divided according to race, creed, or allegiance, and to some, defined by such associations.
Is that what you think?
In my misbegotten youth. But what I believed wisdom was no more than aggressive ignorance. I've since learned to look beyond the banners and the politics, to see people as individuals with their own hopes and dreams. As for my dream of building a better world, well, every day I'm reminded that it is far more complex than I had ever imagined. But it only spurs me onward, to find the wisdom and the strength to see it through to the very end.
All of our supplies and an immediate withdrawal. These are your conditions?
Demands. And you forgot about the airship. Once again, you will leave one behind. It will be used to return the prisoners. Their collars will be removed prior to the exchange.
So in the end, not even Father's expertly worded rhetoric could deter you from your chosen course.
Huh?
Not that I thought for a moment that it would. I've no love for violence, of course, but ours is a cause worth fighting for. I just wish he'd realize it too. Sometimes the only way to protect the ones you love is to take a stand, to refuse to suffer in silence. I want you to know I share your conviction. Whether it be on the battlefield or in the debating chamber, I won't back down. I guess what I'm saying is...
You've found your own reason to fight.
Yes. Yes, I have. God's willing, there will come a day when we can finally lay down our arms, and there will be peace. But not until the Telophoroi have been defeated once and for all. And you, brother, will have a vital part to play. By your words and deeds, you'll lead the way.
I pray I am up to the task.
There'll always be naysayers. Those who think us fools for even trying. It's easy for learned elites to criticize earnest efforts and assert their moral superiority, all without offering alternatives. Not that their sophistry has ever wounded you. So stubborn and strong, stronger than you even know. Don't ever change, you hear me? If you stumble, I'll be there to catch you. Or give you a thick ear. Maybe both, for good measure.
Thank you, Alice.
The scouts have secured Alize and Alfino. Their collars were removed without complication as well. They report no casualties, not for their party nor the guards, who will wake from their premature slumber in due course.
It would appear the situation has changed. I propose new terms. We have information that will be of great interest to Lord Quintus, and I wish to speak with him in person.
No. In the event you rejected our first proposal, we came prepared with a second.
Ah, no.
Ambush!
More are coming! Make ready!
Uh-oh.
We, the loyal soldiers of the First Legion, proud servants of Garlemald, of the fallen Emperor Varys, shall safeguard these lands from the barbarian hordes until our countrymen return! Stop, both of you!
This child may be the worst emissary I have ever seen.
We received an urgent communication from the Grand Company of Eorzea. Envoys from the Imperial Army, led by members of the 10th Legion, came to Alamigo and requested an audience. They explained that their efforts to coordinate the reclamation of the capital with the aid of the 4th, 5th, 8th, and 12th had ended in failure. Communication between most legions has broken down entirely. Most of the 10th's conscripts have deserted, leaving their forces severely depleted. That is why, unable to continue the fight on their own, they and their allies turned to the Grand Company of Eorzea for aid.
Lies! Every word!
It is the truth, and I have not finished. The 10th has requested that we deliver a message to Lord Quintus. Have the ill stand down.
You have been listening, my lord? What are your orders?
Inform her that we will honor the 10th's decision. Bereft of hope, and now dignity. I release you from your duty. All of you. I take solace, your radiance, in the knowledge you are not here to witness our debasement. 'Twas a grand, glorious dream we shared. Of a world united, of peace and prosperity. We are ghosts, you and I, memories of days gone by. Bonds forged in blood that I will not see tarnished.
Quickly! We have to reach the station before it's too late.
If there is still a chance that Quintus will agree to a truce, we must take it.
I just hope we get there before he and his men do something rash.
Ooh. Wow, this whole section. Much and more has occurred since we last met. As for determining what comes next, we must speak with Lord Quintus. Before we proceed, tell me what you know of the First Legion and the disposition of their forces. They were preparing for war, while the refugees in their care were left to go hungry. A reckless, short-sighted plan that risks the welfare of the people they are sworn to protect. Nevertheless, we cannot compel them to accept our aid. If we were to arrive in force with intent to do so, we would only incite panic, but perhaps they can be persuaded to follow one of their own. Go with Jullus back to the station and have him lead the refugees here. Some may be unwilling or unable to leave, but for the time being, I'll take what I can get. Alfino, Alisei and the scout sent to extricate them should already be at the station. I will also have our other comrades in the area lend their support should it be needed. Understood. Sagasite and Jullus. We arrived just before you did, and too late. Too late for what? What's happened? It's Lord Quintus. He took his own life. After the news about the 10th, he relieved us of our duties. Then, when he was alone, he... No, he wouldn't. Thancred and the others, assisted by the soldiers, have seen to the remains. In due course, shall the legatus be afforded a proper burial. He released us from our duty. He wanted us to be free to choose our own fate. Without him to guide us, I have just this moment spoken with Lucia. We are ready to commence the transfer of the refugees here to Camp Broken Glass, should they be willing to accept our aid. Some would rather die, but most of us just want to live. Songs and standards be damned. We just want to live. We'll need to speak with the refugees. They'll have to decide for themselves if they wish to come with us. If any would prefer to stay, we can have supplies brought over for them. It will be a hard journey for the others, but we'll see they reach our camp safely. It was only ever a dream, wasn't it? To think we could reclaim it, rebuild it all ourselves. Before this all began, I sent my wife and daughter away to the provinces. If there's a chance I might see them again, I'll take it. So take me with you, please. Because the pace of the entire zone has been very slow. The pacing has been very slow. But everything that has happened, it has all followed a path that ended with what happened. I enjoyed it. Well, got the Aetheryte sorted in the end. All it took was a few adjustments, and now it works as well as it ever did. From what I can tell, the one in Tertium is also functioning as normal. That's where you lot are staying, isn't it? Now that most of us are packing up and leaving this place, I reckon there'll be more use for me and my skills over at your camp. Ah, it's you, the one who treated me with such kindness. I heard from the others that you're not from around here. I thought you were one of us. Not that it makes much difference now. Purebloods, migrants, savages. After a while the words start to lose meaning, until all you're left with is anger and fear and hate, and I'm too tired. If you and yours have come to offer aid, I would be glad to accept. We have much to discuss. Our rescue, the attack on Camp Broken Glass, what we had hoped to talk about with Quintus. But all of that can wait. More urgent matters demand our attention. Are any of the refugees willing to come to our camp? Thank the 12. Thank the 12. You and I should go first and secure the route back to Camp Broken Glass. With all the creatures and Tempered skulking about, I expect we'll have our hands full. This should come in handy. Conqueror's Chain. Courtesy of our Lominsan friends. I would save it for the Tempered though. I'll mark a few points that need surveying on your map. Once you have taken care of the riffraff, we'll meet back at our camp. Ah, there you are. As expected, I ran into a few beasts who went down without too much of a fight. The Tempered proved somewhat troublesome, but those chains should keep them under control until our allies take them into custody. With that taken care of, I'm up on to gather a few supplies and then return to the station. While I see to that, would you mind apprising Lucia of our progress? As it happens, I have some rather pertinent information from our recent scouting forays, but I'll save that for later. First things first, and all that. Ah, Sakasite. I was informed of Quintus' suicide. It must have come as a great shock to his men. What of the refugees? I'm told some were receptive to our proposal, but I would hear your first-hand account. That so many did not hesitate to accept proves how desperate their situation has become. We'll do our best to make them feel welcome. The troops who participated in the ambush are no exception. They will be afforded the same treatment as any other refugees, perfidy notwithstanding. After all, even if I wanted to make an example of them, there's no one left to learn from it. We will tell our allies that these soldiers were acting under the direct orders of their legatos, and that following his suicide they offered a full and unconditional surrender. Perhaps Quintus thought that had he lived, he would be tried as a war criminal, and his men punished with him. Perhaps, by taking his own life, he hoped to absolve them of any culpability, or perhaps, like too many others, he was a true believer to the end. Who can say? I didn't know the man, or his heart. His reasons, noble or otherwise, died with them, and it falls to us to clean up the mess. I assume you're curious about how matters have progressed here in your absence. Quite well, as it happens. Now that we have procured ceruleum from Tapper's Den, the recently repaired heaters can provide much needed warmth. Furthermore, we have prepared sufficient food for everyone. Those from Tertium shall find a hot meal waiting upon their arrival. There's one for you, so go ahead and get some well-earned rest. I believe that we're capable of wielding a ladle or two without your assistance. On your way, might I ask you to seek out Yistola? She was but recently attending to the wounded, but she's meant to be taking her a rest herself. See that she is. Yes, I have been taking proper breaks and imbibing sufficient water, but what of the Warrior of Light? You and the twins have an established history of reckless disregard for your own well-being. We're all fortunate that none of you landed yourselves in my care. I have already quite enough to deal with, between the tempered and the first's wounded. Alas, though I can mend their bodies, the toll their experiences have taken on their hearts and minds is another matter altogether. For their sakes, we mustn't waver. But nor must we rush ahead in eagerness to see the day won, and in so doing invite disaster. Upon settling down for supper, several cutscenes will play in sequence. Ooh. Yes.
Is that all of them?
The last of those who agreed to join us, yes.
We left heaters and provisions for those who wish to stay behind. They won't last forever, but hopefully they'll last long enough.
For now, I think everyone's earned a rest. We'll see to those in need of medical attention, so take the others with you and get yourselves some hot soup.
Warmth. At last.
Marvellous, isn't it? All thanks to the resourceful machinists of Ishgard, I might add. On their behalf, I bid you warm yourself to your heart's content.
Hold on. Your people might have scribbled a few things on a piece of parchment, but it was our Leminson Smiths that put the bloody things together.
Well, be that as it may, we single-handedly got the interior heating up and running again, didn't we?
The hells you did! We were there every step of the way.
We? You barely raised a finger to help, you ale-sodden reprobate.
I did a damn sight more than you lily-livered bilge rat.
Take that back.
Make me.
I will not stoop to your level.
Here. At ease, man. There's nothing funny in it. I'm from Alamigo, but was a conscript until recently. Used to eat this with the officers.
Apparently, it's adapted from a steppe recipe. This is my first time trying it, and I have to say, it's not half bad.
It's a bit too flavorful for my liking.
Perhaps compared to what you're used to.
It's the little things that make life worth living, don't you think?
I know this is not a dream, and yet... I felt the same way at the Dragon Song War's end. Every morning I would step outside and need to be reminded that it wasn't my imagination, that my world had been forever changed. And just as I had grown accustomed to the idea, again you change my world in ways I never thought possible. Were it not for you and your fellow scions, the rift between man and dragon and myriad tribes might never have been bridged. The Grand Company of Eorzea, the Ilsabard contingent. We owe it all to you. We've shed many tears in recent days, of pain and sorrow, triumph and joy. I much prefer the latter. I'm honored to fight by your side. As an Eorzean and Garlean both, I shall do all in my power to bring my peoples together.
It is a remarkable achievement. Everything that I and the Populares had hoped for, and more.
Would that it had come sooner.
Indeed. Too many are not here to see it. And yet, there is a warmth in my breast, as if they still share in this moment.
Yes, I know what you mean. On a night like tonight, the wind and cold seem to pass me by.
On behalf of the Gallian Empire, thank you for inviting me today.
What? Emperor Varus?
They are being tempered! The talismans! Quickly!
Save me, brave hero! My lord has requested your presence, and I would hate to disappoint him.
Qué hijo de puta.
The experiment was a success, but I fear our time is short. I shall begin the preparations.
Now, it is time for you to awaken. Good morrow to you. Here, have a taste before it gets cold. Oh, but be sure to remove your helmet. Take a moment, too, to familiarize yourself with that borrowed flesh.
Borrowed flesh?
So, how does it feel? I, for one, find those first moments within a new body to be most refreshing. We had a Magitech engineer by the name of Jullus to thank for this method of soul extraction and implantation. I believe the two of you met briefly in Alamigo. His was a rather sticky end, wasn't it? Thankfully, he was thoughtful enough to leave behind his mind-jack technology. I took the liberty of making some improvements and selecting you as my esteemed test subject.
Carajo. Give me back my body.
And permit you to go on a righteous rampage instead of partaking in this delicious meal? I think not.
This is crazy.
I must say, I have gone to great lengths to reunite you with my lord. When I discovered that his friend was in this neck of the woods, I suggested inviting you over for dinner. He never deigned to respond, but I took his silence as a resounding yes. Oh my! Daddy is pleased his grumpy little boy has finally found his playmate.
I went from tears to shock to confusion. What the fuck is going on?
Exposition is in order. The Garlean Empire has long outlawed all forms of religion. No gods to worship, no risk summoning. Brilliantly simple. But people being people must turn to something or someone in their hour of need. Who then? Why, His Radiance the Emperor, of course. As you have observed firsthand, Garlemald has seen better days. The legendary Solus Galvus, dead. Provinces near and far in open rebellion. Our bold new emperor assassinated. And that last one even sparked a civil war. What rotten luck. The people cried out for salvation. Their earnest pleas, one might even call them prayers, a supplication united for the Empire to reclaim her former glory.
Don't tell me.
And so their will did manifest, channeled through the corpse of none other than Emperor Varus himself. And lo, the Savior was born. The embodiment of the Garlean spirit. Their Anima.
Anima is f***ing Varus.
It calls to its subjects, compelling them to take up arms and fight. And just as the wealth and power gravitate towards the Empire's capital, so too does ether from every corner of the globe. The towers with which you and your allies have been so preoccupied were created as an extension of Anima itself. An ingenious design.
Okay.
Would you not agree, my lord?
Does the pursuit of prey you have bested before excite you? Of course not. Absent the challenge, the thrill, your prize is a hollow victory. Butchery. Perhaps you think that to be the extent of my promise. I have no doubt fallen in your estimation since Alamigo. Fair enough. But do not let your disdain deprive us, of an opportunity to craft an even more majestic moment of euphoria. I have been honing my craft as I set the stage for our reunion. Wheresoever there is suffering and despair, you appear to fulfill your duty as defender of this star. The chaos and destruction that my hordes have wrought are my gifts to you alone.
Every Final Fantasy XIV player knows this, but it's worth repeating it. This guy is f***ing insane.
At a loss for words? No matter. As you will learn, I have only just begun.
Oh, will you not finish your meal?
There is only one thing that can sate my hunger, and it would seem my friend has lost her appetite. I hoped this display of civility might prove an entertaining diversion, but clearly we are above such pretensions. While my lifeless body was in the possession of the Ascian, I too claimed another's as my own. It was an enlightening experience to fight in an unfamiliar form. Flaws and failings in my technique were plain to see. Whence rises one's true strength? The flesh? The soul? Perhaps you should like to discover the answer for yourself.
What the f...
Oh dear! Whatever would happen if my lord were to greet your friends as you? I shudder to imagine what carnage he would wreak.
The f***?
We'd better hurry if we want to avert the bloodbath. You can thank me later for my generosity. There it is. Your camp, I believe. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say that you, the other you, is making her way there as we speak. Alas, this you will have to walk from here. Or run, if you can manage it. My lord would be cross if I made it too easy. Such ingratitude. I'd not squander this fighting chance. After all, you've obstacles enough to overcome. Right on cue. tempered soldiers, with standing orders to kill those not sworn to Anima. Under normal circumstances, you would make short work of them. But on this occasion, the odds are not so heavily stacked in your favor.
I have time! 20 Rage of Alone, Fight or Flight, Rampart. So I'm guessing I have to do this.
Not bad at all, given your diminished capacity. Nevertheless, 'twould perhaps be prudent to keep to the shadows, scurrying about like a rodent.
Which way do I have to go? I seem to be going the wrong way. Damn it! A bomb? Wait, who's that? Oh, damn. What the? Unable to escape the blast, you begin to lose consciousness. Now what? You crawl to safety and regain consciousness. No. Am I even crawling in the right direction? Alright, I can.
It is a miracle we were able to restrain the Tempered without suffering casualties.
A welcome one. Arun, Senna and the others have their hands full as it is. Thankfully there are enough scales for everyone.
And what of Jullus? His symptoms were particularly severe.
They were, but others fared still worse, including some brought back from the Magna Glacies. As those in most desperate need take priority, it may be a while before he receives treatment. But rest assured that he will. In the meantime, we must find our missing friend. May the Fury guide you.
Of all the bloody times for a disappearing act.
Right when the first wave struck. We'd be fools to think it a coincidence. But where even to begin the search? No one saw her leave in the chaos, and we've no trail to follow.
While I know full well she can handle herself, I worry all the same.
Ah.
Uh-oh.
Speak of the devil.
Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
Well, time to call off the search.
Ishtola should see him.
Case closed.
That's her, over there.
Aye, 'twould appear so. Thou art struggling to perceive her presence?
I am. Perhaps, in the aftermath of the wave, there is some residual effect interfering with my faculties. But...
Where have you been? We've been worried sick.
Now. All's well that ends well. Are you all right?
Are you all right?
Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
Who are you?
What the f***? Get them away from them, you bastard.
Sadly, that is all we have time for today. The effect has run its course, and back to your own bodies you must go. But where are my manners? You have all traveled so very far, and I've yet to pay my respects. Though in my defense, I was ill-prepared to receive so many uninvited guests. As such, preliminary entertainments were in order. A handful of tempered soldiers to hamper your progress. Refugees to command your attention while I siphon the ceruleum from the shadows. Particularly effective. Charitable souls that you are, you bent over backwards to aid them. Heedless of the delay, predictable to a fault, and so my plan approaches completion unhindered. Anima will soon have absorbed the requisite amount of ether, and then shall come the spectacle to end all spectacles. The eldest and most powerful of primals will awaken, and all shall bear witness to the final days!
The gods themselves will be my meal. Your dear companions my dessert. Upon this world I'll feast, and death shall follow in my wake. all your hate, all your rage, you will render unto me.
For upon thy life's reel wind too many threads of fate, power, weal enmeshed with woe. More terrible still is the attrition wrought upon thy companions, as they are swept up in the storm of thine existence. Take heart and protect them well. They will be your strength and your salvation.
Thank goodness. She's awake.
Is everyone all right?
Perfectly fine, yes. I hope the same can be said of you.
Everything in working order? That's a relief. Oh, and before I forget, thanks for coming to our rescue.
Given recent events, I would be surprised if you weren't feeling a bit poorly. A hearty meal and a long rest would be my recommendation under normal circumstances, but these are anything but. If Van Daniel's boasts are to be believed, we must act quickly. Once you've blown away the cobwebs, we can discuss preparations for our assault on the Tower of Babil.
Okay, so I know the pacing of the chapter of this zone may have been slow, a lot of tedious conversations and everything, but just sad that you're well. Nothing out of place, no missing bits. Good, though I won't promise the same for Van Daniel and Xenos after I'm through with them. How much must these people suffer before they are satisfied? How many cruel, pointless tricks must they play? Prelude to the final days or no? This ends now. Are you well enough to make your report? This Anima was summoned with the corpse of Emperor Varys. Does their depravity know no bounds? It seems not. More to the point, we can surmise that wave of ether issued not from the Tower of Babil, but from the primal lurking within it. A primal whose cry rang rather more loudly in your ears than ours. If you were taken to the tower itself, then this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is the beating heart of the Teleforoi's machinations. In which case, we have some highly relevant information. As many of you know, ever since we dispatched troops to free the Leveliers, we have been developing a plan to infiltrate the tower. According to Thancred and his scouts, the main structure is lousy with tempered and enemy magitech. Furthermore, the road leading to it has collapsed, making it difficult to approach in numbers. Thus do we propose dividing our forces into two parties, one to distract and one to infiltrate. The diversionary force will be comprised of the Ishgardian, Gridanian and Luminsan delegations. They will begin the construction of bridges to make the Teleforoi believe we are marching upon the tower. Meanwhile, the best suited of our Alamigan, Ultan and Eastern comrades will use a different method of ingress. Look here. The facility marked in red is the Enceladium, a vast magitech manufactory, in ruins now of course, but the freight tunnel connecting it to Ertzwal Imperial Palace remains intact. While the Teleforoi's attention is elsewhere, our infiltration force can use it to enter the tower undetected. Be aware, however, that the underground rail network remains very much operational. The Tempered are using it to bring supplies to the tower even now. If it can carry the material, it can carry us too, providing we sneak aboard unseen. The Scions will lead the infiltration party. Once inside, you must locate and dispatch Fandanil and Xenos. We will save the people of Garlemald and those who suffer the world over. I'll have my vengeance yet. It's time we ended this once and for all. We will save the people of Garlemald. I, Jullus and so many others have lost much to the Delaforoi. We shall ensure they'll lose no more. How quickly can we enact this plan? Fandanil made it quite clear that haste is a priority. Of paramount concern even, assuming he didn't name the Tower Babil on a whim. In Amon's time, it meant gateway to the gods. Sunday used it to refer to a void gate, but in this case, it almost certainly alludes to something altogether greater. The eldest and most powerful of primals. All the more reason to act now. The rest of the contingent is aware of the plan and all ready to move at a moment's notice. You are to proceed north to Forum Patens. Lisa's group will meet you there. As ever, we are grateful for your foresight. This is the moment we have been waiting for. Spare no effort in your preparations. Sagasite, the way into the tunnel is clear. We have made sure of it. I wish you would make sure to bring a coat instead. Then we best get in there before we freeze, especially you. Oh, I'll warm up when I throw a punch or two. Barely enough cloth to throttle a newborn. Clearly you have spent too long around this feral dog of a Dotharl. Watch your tongue, fool, lest I feed it to the crows. We will see who is the fool when you freeze to death. Expect me not to warm your ill-prepared hide. These furs are for myself and my Nahama alone, should I be blessed to meet there this day. As if any woman of worth would wish to be warmed by you, little son. Should we find such a warrior within, she will bask in my glorious flame. Stop, both of you. Save your fire for the enemy. As for extra furs, I have plenty to spare. As do we. Hello everyone, all set for battle I see? Yes, free of unnecessary encumbrances, if rather more susceptible for the cold. Let us review our strategy, quickly if you don't mind. Pippin's group has gone ahead to the Enceladium. We are to meet them there. We wait until the Tempered's attention is drawn by our diversionary force, then we sneak onto the train. Next up, the Tower of Babil. If any, Tempered included, are injured, we Saela will tend to them. You Scions must press on, no matter what. We should avoid moving as a group until we are underground, so we'll need to make our own ways to the Enceladium. See you there. Hail, it's good to see you, Sagasite. We heard that you collapsed, but were given only the most cursory explanation. I'm glad you have recovered, and quickly enough to take part in the operation at that. As you will have heard, we have secured the way in. Some few are to remain behind to keep your escape route clear. Our comrade from Ventestiers will lead the way into the station. I'll join you soon. The station is right this way. Tread lightly now. This is everyone. Consider the enemy well and truly distracted. Time to go. Our primary objective is, of course, the Telephorois leaders. Should we be presented with an opportunity to vanquish Anima, we must seize it. If it is indeed the force behind the towers, destroying it will deliver our allies from the Telephorois' reign of terror. And I, for one, would not see the Guardian people manipulated any longer, be it by Primal, Ascian, or anything else. Here, there's been enough of that. We came to help the people of Garlemald, and that's what we're going to do, together. Till the very end. The train should be along any moment now. Prepare to board, everyone. Okay. The Tower of Babil.
Now or never.
Barnabas. Wait, which Final Fantasy was this from? Was it 4? I can't remember this.
You're mine!
I just noticed Triple Cask has charges now. Lugai. Oh boy. Wait, Anima is a dungeon boss. I thought it was a primal. Oh boy. What the hell are those? Mega Graviton. summon. Anima's dimension, what the hell? Oh, come on. Glory, glory, glory be. That was awesome.
Farewell, Varus. May the gods have mercy on your soul. Come. The other two await.
This madness ends here!
Oh, hush. This is the best part. Oh, mighty Zodiac! Awaken from your slumber and descend!
Some manner of magical defense?
Kryl, what?
Kryl? But how?
Who's idling?
The shackles that bind my adversary will not be so easily broken.
Idling! Feeble relic of a forgotten age! Hark! Victory is mine!
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
No more ether. And I was so close. My lord, a slight change of plans. We shall travel to the moon and break this wretched barrier ourselves.
Whatever it takes.
What was that?
The final order issued by Anima to the tempered thralls. Should the Empire fall, the world must share her fate.
Of course. Father lacked the conviction to give such a command. The abomination born of his flesh was but a puppet, and I the puppeteer.
You madman! You monster!
There's a funny joy in watching your flailing attempts to fight the inevitable. You're all going to die, and they're powerless to prevent it. really must be on our way. You're welcome to give chase, provided you are content to leave comrade and tempered alike to die screaming.
I have asked too much of this child. Tend to her. The last brand at Mare Lamentorum is yet unbroken. Zodiac remains bound. I have shifted the flow of ether and sent the enemy far from their destination. Now, I shall divert it once more. An ally awaits, and I will deliver you unto him. Seek his aid. Restore the seal. Zodiac must not be set free.
The Tempered are running wild. Not only those at the tower, but those back at the camp. The others are doing their best to contain them, but the situation is growing beyond our control.
Leave them to die or give up the chase. Just like Van Daniel said.
I'm the one Sinus wants. Only I can bring an end to this. Garlemald's fate is in your hands. I'm the one Sinus wants.
You're going alone? You have our trust and our faith. I pray we have yours. Our friends in the Tempered need our help. We will save as many as we can, I swear.
Once we have matters well in hand, we'll join you on the moon. Until then, be careful. There's no telling what you'll find.
Fear not for Kryl. Go forth and return, I prithee. She channeled a dangerous amount of ether, and that's to say nothing of the teleportation magic she must have used to get here. Yet Kryl and Heidelin both were clearly willing to take the risk. We're moving out to rendezvous with the remainder of the contingent. Leave everything here to us. Stand there for just a moment, please. A prayer for good luck. Now you can't possibly fail. We have no time for worrying over what's done. Let's go. As I suspected. If all of the Tempered are affected, Jullus and his comrades likely put up quite the struggle. We'll find a way to save them. We must. I only pray we are not too late. In the meantime, may the 12 carry you to victory. A trip to the moon. My apologies, I was lost in thought. This device is of elegant design, which leads me to think I was right about Van Daniel. No matter what he claims, he still has an attachment to the trappings of his past. Whether knowing this will make your path forward clearer, I cannot say, but bear it in mind. But let us turn to the task at hand. As Heidelin said, the flow of ether will transport you to Mare Lamentorum. We must hope this ally of hers can provide you with the necessary assistance to restore the seal before Sinus and Van Daniel arrive to stop you. It seems we are ever one step behind, but I have faith it will make up the difference. Know that whatever waits, our prayers are with you. Now go, beyond the sky.